call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.
What up? Welcome back to the Necro Zoo. I am Bones. And in this one, we're going to add one more figure to my McFarlane DC Multiverse collection. Now this time it will be the Batman from the Dark Knight Returns wave. Now there is going to be a couple of figures in this wave. You have Carrie Kelly, Robin, the Joker, and Superman. Now I did find this at my local Target. Pretty awesome. Didn't expect to find it, but let's go ahead and take a look at him. Now this guy does look pretty grizzled in his packaging, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at him. But first, he does come with your standard black DC Multiverse stand. Now these are not usually needed, but sometimes they come in helpful. He also comes with his data file card. On the front, you have some pretty awesome figure photography. And on the back, you do have some information. Now we'll be adding this to the collection. He does come with some accessories. First up, he comes with this kind of tied on Batarang. Pretty cool. We've never seen something like this. I guess this will be useful when he's riding the horse, or you could use it while he's on top of a building or something, so that's pretty cool. He also comes with two closed fists, alternate hands. Now that is pretty sweet. He does come with the two legs from the horse. This is a Build-A-Horse wave, and they are pretty nicely articulated, but we'll get more into that when we actually build the horse. He also comes with the horse's tail, and obviously it is going to be articulated, so all in all, pretty awesome from McFarlane. Doing a good job starting off the year. Now this guy looks pretty intimidating, pretty stocky. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at him. Now first impressions had a lot of people doubting that this figure would be pretty nice, but actually now that I have him in hand, he is really awesome. Highly surpassed my expectations. I could see a lot of cool texturing, wrinkle work in the suit. I mean, his stockiness, the muscle maturity is just really prominent there. Looks really great. Great first impressions from this guy. Now let's talk about the head. Now I do have my original Dark Knight Returns graphic novel by Frank Miller. Now it is really messed up because I have had this since I was a little kid, and it is really well read. But you can find a picture in here where he is upon the horse, and I'm pretty sure that is where they're getting their image of this face sculpt. Now all the characters in this wave are coming from panels in the graphic novel, so that's why people are kind of put off by how they look, but in all actuality they are pretty accurate representations of the graphic novel. So he has a pretty grizzled, gruff face sculpt, baring his teeth. Really looks awesome. Love the really short ears on this guy, and of course all the line work they did on this, on his brow and all that, looks really tough. Now he can look up very well. He looks down, turn to the right and to the left, and of course you can tilt his head for some character. All in all, great head sculpt, really representative of the comic, so I'm happy with it. Looks really rugged and determined, so that's always nice. Now let's go down to the chest. Love this emblem on the chest. It's really wide and it is sculpted in, which is, awesome. Let's check out the waist articulation. You can move them from side to side. You get that McFarlane all the way around rotation in the waist. He can bend forward slightly, but he can bend back pretty good. He does have upper chest rotation and lower waist rotation. And then you can twist him to put him in some cool poses, which is always nice for posing and photography. Let's take a look at the arms. He does have butterfly shoulder joint, no bicep cut, and single jointed elbows, but he does have elbow rotation, which actually adds a lot to the dexterity of the figure. I found this when using the Swamp Thing. He only has a single jointed elbow, but he can swivel at the elbow, which adds to the dexterity. So they compensated for no bicep cut there. And then moving into his gauntlet plates and forearms, beautifully sculpted, really short blades, transitions nicely into the hand, and then you do have wrist articulation at the hinge, and you can turn it and get a full rotation of articulation. This guy's looking really good. Can't believe people doubted him, but looking really good. Now let's check out his shoulders. He can actually give you a pretty decent Y pose. Even though the cape is, in the way, it still goes up more than a T. Beautiful. Move down. Love this utility belt. Pretty accurate to the source material. Love the color. Could use a little wash. Let's check out the thigh swivel. Now this is going to be interesting because he does have thigh swivel in the traditional sense that McFarlane fans know, but they also gave him thigh cuts. And of course this will be utilized for the horse to be able to ride it easier. So I don't really like thigh cuts because as soon as you turn it, you break up the sculpt. But of course, if he's sitting on the horse, that's not a big deal. You could still cock out his leg, and he does have that awesome hip rotation, but the thigh cut actually starts working before you could use that hip. And that is the only thing I don't like about thigh cuts, is that that eventually this thigh cut is going to become really loose, and it's going to be just swinging around. But if you don't use it that much, it might be okay, and there's other ways to fix that. But you could straighten them out, and then he does have double jointed knees. Going down to the ankles, he does have up and down, left to right, rocker, and then of course he does have toe articulation. All in all, let's look at the lower body. Love the boot cut here. He does have his peaks, and then there's tons of nice sculpture work making it look like a cloth suit, a cloth costume, just with the work they do with the wrinkling on the sculpture of the legs. But it's looking all really nice. Let's take a look at it from the bottom. No tread and no identifying marks, so that's pretty interesting. Moving up the back, more cool sculpt work. You have the belt in the back continued, and then you got musculature in the back. Now let's talk about this cape. It is pretty soft, not as soft as some of the ones that have come out before, but you could still bunch it up. But it does have some cool sculpting lines that we have not seen before on any back cape, so that is pretty awesome. Transitioning right up into the back of his cowl. Now once you get this guy in hand, you're going to see what I'm talking about all the little wrinkles and sculpt work that they did throughout the whole suit, the cape, and tying into the neck. once you get it in hand, you're going to see what I'm talking about. This guy is definitely, you know, pretty close to action figure perfection. I mean, really close. He looks really good. Now, one thing you can do is put his lasso batarang type, you know, construction, you know, set up into his hands, holding it on one side and then having it in the other, either on a rooftop or on the back of the horse. This will work out nicely. Always cool to have new accessories. You can pop out the hand and put in one of the fists. So now you can punch the Joker if you would like. Now, I'm not sure where this batarang is from. It was from one of the earlier releases from McFarlane, and that's why it's pretty thick, like a big cut batarang. But this actually looks like the one that is in the comics, and this actually does fit right into his hand. So this is actually the batarang I'm going to be using with this guy. It looks pretty good, fits perfectly, you know, with his size. Because I think that whoever had this batarang, it was like too big. And now since this guy's a little bit more bulkier, it actually fits really well with him. Pretty nice. Now, I don't have too many Dark Knight Returns Batman figures because I never really got into DC Direct. I was more of a regular, you know, aisle collector. But I do have the Mattel black suited Dark Knight Returns Batman. And this guy just blows this guy out of the water. Although I do have like a sentimental attachment to this guy. But he doesn't have the articulation that the new one has. The face sculpt is, it's like a good comic stylized version, but it's not exactly the way Frank Miller does his faces. But it is good. It's, you know, worked for me all these years. But this is going to be my new go-to Dark Knight Returns Batman figure. Now, what would be awesome is if they actually make the one he uses at the beginning of the story, which is the blue version with the oval. Now that would be awesome if they make this version of in this style, in this mold. Definitely be ready to add that to the collection. That would be cool. But as for this guy, he is going to be an awesome addition to the collection. Love having him. Can't wait to build that horse so I could get him on it. And can't wait to find the rest of the figures. You guys keep hunting out there. Keep collecting. Keep customizing. And I will see you on the next one.